Hi, we're Team 9 and this is our ethical audit. We interviewed a large accounting firm, a general small business, and a single person law firm. The first firm we're going to be talking about is our large accounting firm. The firm we interviewed was Donnelly Boland and Associates. It was founded in 1992 by Faye Donnelly Boland. And it is currently the 10th largest accounting firm in the greater Pittsburgh area. They have 3 branches at this point, 2 in the Pittsburgh South Hills region, and those are the 2 in Brentwood and Baldwin, and then they have 1 in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. They currently employ over 80 people, and most of them are CPAs, but they have several other financial professionals. They specialize in accounting and tax services for small businesses and nonprofits, and they understand that working with small businesses, finding appropriate solutions is a big part of what they do. And they also provide transition management, process outsourcing, and consulting services. Okay. So a little bit about the ethical procedures at Donnelly Boland and Associates. As a CPA firm, they have to follow a lot of national regulations, and accounting is a heavily regulated industry. Their CPAs have to attend ethics classes and other formal training every 2 years. And they follow all of the established accounting laws, both state and federal. And one of their newest improvements to their business was the addition of a national, or participation in a national whistleblowing hotline. Because in accounting, if there is problems with someone not following federal regulations, it can be tough to report it to your direct superiors, but their policy in place is first to report it to your direct superior, and then if there is a conflict, they have a national hotline that's on 24/7 and allows their employees to call and anonymously give any complaints or blow a whistle. So a little bit about their ethics department. They have a compliance officer who deals with fraud and abuse, and then they have an HR department that handles any ethical issues. The compliance officer is in charge of making sure that everyone in the firm follows all of the accounting laws and regulations, and the HR department takes care of any disputes between employees, and also they do transition management, which they help small businesses who lose executives replace them temporarily. And so part of the HR department screens the employees before matching them up with a small business to make sure that this employee is qualified and capable of providing the services that the small businesses need. And then moving on to their CSR involvement, at Donnelly Boland and Associates, they realized that since they work with small businesses and nonprofits, that their community is their business, and currently they contribute to 7 local schools in the area around their offices and over 10 local charities, because they understand that they need to stay in touch with their community to increase their own business. In addition to just contributing to charities, they also do several internal fundraisers, 2 per year. One where they make baskets, and those go to they're sold, and then the proceeds go to Goodwill. And then the other one, they make blankets for the homeless. One concern that we do have about this firm is they do not have a formal ethics policy. And originally, when Donnelly Boland started in 1992, they were entirely CPAs working for the firm. So they didn't feel that they needed to have a formal ethical policy because all of their employees had to receive training. But since they've grown over the last 20 years, they've started to hire other financial professionals other than CPAs who are not required to attend yearly ethics classes, So having a formal ethics policy in place would help those financial professionals who aren't necessarily going to ethics classes every year or two. And the motto, just a general motto they have at Donnelly Boland is, it's not enough to appear right, it has to be right. Because in accounting, there are ways that you can hide how you break the law or if you act unethically, but they have a commitment to making sure that they do everything the right way.
We interviewed a small business called Pablavos Inc. It is founded in 1986, and it runs 3 small businesses in Pittsburgh. One of them is in Bloomfield, and another one is in Dormont. It deals with groceries and Indian cuisine. It has 15 employees in total, and they are from diverse age and countries. I'm going to briefly talk about the ethics part. So they have culture of ethic behavior, but there is no formal statement of policy or mission. However, before the staff start working, they have formal training about the ethics to help them build the culture of ethic behavior. And they do encourage both employees and clients to report any unethical behavior. Usually they do it through 2 ways. One is informal. They have open door policy, so people can come in and talk one-to-one, face-to-face. They also do it through informal ways. People can email them or call them. If there are any informal gossip happen among employees, they will address issues seriously. They have month meeting to talk about these issues until they are solved. And they balance the client and staff rights, so they will not favor one side over another. They will make the decision based on what is morally right. And they take the workplace safety issue seriously, so if there is any danger happen, they will address it immediately and shut down the business until it is solved. And employee welfare is above making profit. They also actively participate in the community. For example, they will provide food and money to help community.
The lawyer that we interviewed for our law firm was Michael J. Mosnack, who is the owner and only attorney in his practice. He is located in Washington, Pennsylvania, and he's licensed in Pennsylvania and Ohio. He has been practicing law since 1972, first as a corporate lawyer, and then more recently as a sole practitioner. He mainly deals with estate law, divorce law, minor criminal charges, contract law, and property leases. In regards to the ethical standard that he holds himself to, he mentioned that he was subject to ethical mandates that were established by the Supreme Court. He has different criteria in choosing his clients, whether or not he is competent in the area that the services that they need, whether he is subject to any conflicts of interest, whether the prospective client intends to engage in any illegal activity, and the client's ability to pay him. In regards to his corporate social responsibility, he does provide pro bono services from time to time. I asked him what his motivation is to making ethical decisions, since he is the only practicing attorney in his firm. He said that his motivation is to preserve his reputation and the integrity of his practice, because that is the only way that he's going to be continuing to practice law and keep the clients that he has already served. His motto, per se, for his practice is to treat every client like he is your only one. He strives to provide the best representation possible, and in regards to any conflicts of interest between himself and his clients, or any other clients that he is providing his services for, he does perform a conflict check, and he is required by the state in any jurisdictions that he's licensed in to take annual ethics classes.
After looking at the ethical policies of all three businesses, the large accounting firm, the medium-sized business, and the small legal practice, we noticed major similarities and differences between all of their ethical policies. A major similarity between all of the three firms was their devotion to CSR. For example, the small business donated food and clothing to local fairs, the accounting firm sponsored local schools and sports teams, and the personal practice often provided pro bono work for local neighbors. Another major similarity we found between two of the major businesses, the accounting firm and the legal practice, was industry ethics. In both cases, industry provided ethical policies for both businesses to follow. This provided a major difference between the accounting firm and the legal practice in the small business, as the small business did not have industry ethics. Another major similarity we found between all three firms was the fact that personal ethics often can conflict with business ethics. In all three cases, there was major steps to provide checkpoints so personal ethics did not conflict with business ethics along the process. In addition, we noticed that small firms and larger firms have a different outtake on ethics. The larger firm, the accounting firm, had an officer of compliance and a whole HR department to sort of look at their ethical policies and provide ethical audits and ethical strategies, while the personal business and the small law firm often relied on personal ethics to guide the way.
After analyzing all of these businesses, we found a few areas of improvement and recommendations for each of these businesses to become more ethical. One of the areas is that we realized that not all the clients, even if they do see an ethical problem, may not know how to report this, and know that there are these channels in place to be able to report them to help the business understand what they're doing wrong. So one of our biggest recommendations is to improve this client awareness and to make sure that everyone knows all the channels in which to report unethical behavior. Another big issue was the lack of formal ethical policies specific to each firm. And within the law firm and the CPA firm, there are national guidelines set forth by government agencies about the ethics standards, but there are other employees in most of these businesses, and in the small business there isn't this national policy. So we recommend each of the owners to write these policies to make sure that all employees know what is expected of them in terms of behaving ethically. Another way to do this is to implement more performance evaluations and include an ethical audit in these evaluations, and do periodic internal audits of the ethics so that no problems fall through the cracks, and so the owners of the business and the employees are always aware of the issues that are going on to keep the business running smoothly and ethically. I'd like to thank Professor Fogarty for the semester and teaching us how to run our businesses ethically, and hopefully we can take that into the workplace and combat cynicism and make the world a better place. Thank you.